We all have read and heard about slavery in schools, colleges, movies, and in books. We all think it is in history and it happened years ago. But the sad reality is that even today in the 21st century, it happens. There are very few people who have come out of slavery and survived in life. In those few people, Mr. Harold D'Souza is one of them. He is the victim of human trafficking in the US. He suffered so much that when we hear about his story, I'm sure we will have sleepless nights. But today, he is working in the White House and received amazing awards from the US government. Soon we will see his story on the silver screen. So let's meet Mr. Harold D'Souza to know more about his life journey from India to the US White House.
Welcome, sir. Welcome to our campus.
Thank you very much.
So, sir, your journey has been very tough. We have heard about it a lot. I've read about it. So, could you tell our viewers how you faced that and how did you even come out of such situations? What exactly happened to you during those times?
Yeah, it's a long journey. I never dreamt I'll be a victim of human labor trafficking and debt bondage in the United States of America. So, I was invited in the year 2003 and I went on four things. I went on a trust, I went on a faith, I went on a promise, and I went to live my American dream. But little did I know I was manipulated, tricked and trapped by my trafficker because it was a pre-planned. I went on an H-1B visa, which is a work visa, on a $75,000 salary per year plus benefits in 2003. So it was a big money. And I didn't know that I will become a victim. We were made to work in a restaurant. So labor trafficking happens at four places in the US: restaurants, gas stations, convenience stores, motels. I went as a business development manager to work for a manufacturing company, but was made to work in a restaurant. And they provide accommodation next door, not in 100 meters. So human trafficking is a very big industry. It is a $150 billion industry after drugs. The risk factor is very thin, the profit margins are very thick, and out of 10, even today, 9 do not get prosecuted. And that's the reason today it is my passion to be the voice, courage, hope and freedom for all the victims worldwide. At one point in my life, I failed on 4 P's. I failed as a parent, I failed as a provider, I failed as a person, and I failed as a protector. But I flipped the script of my life. I turned obstacles into opportunities. And I flipped those 4 P's into passion, purpose, power and prayers. Thank you.
It's really an unimagined thing that happened to you, and that too in US. Were your family even too tortured or mistreated by the people over there?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Like any person who is a victim of labor trafficking, and if he has a family, the wife and vice versa, the wife and the kids get more traumatized, they get tortured, they get physically abused, they get sexually abused, and in my case was not an exception. So I had gone in 2003. My wife was made to work in the restaurant where she was not supposed to work. My wife and my 2 sons were on an H-4 dependent visa.
Okay.
But my trafficker made my wife work and fixed her salary $2,000. That's a different story, that for 18 months we did not get paid a single penny. We were made to work 14 hours to 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days. My 2 sons, Rohan was 4 years old and my older son Bradley was 7 years old. So my kids got more tortured and traumatized, and that is why today it is my passion that no family, innocent family, should suffer, especially the kids, because it affects them and their life gets destroyed, devastated. So there are so many things that happens, but victims or survivors are unable to share. So trauma has no expiration date. And that is why I try to educate people that you should be trauma informed, you should be survivor informed, and suicide or silence is not a choice, is not an option or solution. You got to fight. I always tell, desire changes nothing. Decision will change something, but determination will change everything. And that is how I could change my life, change your thinking and change your life. And that is what is my passion today. So my wife was also sexually abused, and this is something like it hurts you, right? And that is what has changed my life. I need to rise. But today I am very particular that you can never ever abuse a child, whether it is your child or anyone's child. Kids are angels. Kids are innocent, so we cannot disrupt their thinking, mind, body, physically or mentally. Who are we? Mother Teresa always said, do not waste time judging people, just love them. So who am I or we to judge?
That's really unimaginable that happened to you, your family, but it's maybe because of that you're here today. How did you find the courage to go to the higher authorities? And once when you reached the higher authorities, were there any threats to you?
Yeah, so it is, and there is no process or system, which is step 1, 2, 3, 4. There is no blue book or rule that you follow that. So I went from post to pillar. I didn't know, nobody navigated me. It was God who navigated me. But I had the determination that I said I'm going to fight, come what may. I told the judge, because take me to Times Square at New York, put a gun on my template and kill me, shoot me in public. I said if I'm honest, no one in the world can put me in prison. So it was a long journey. My trafficker hired a guy to kill me. Right? You see in the movies people getting shot.
Yeah.
I didn't know whether I'll get killed today or tomorrow. So I was one day talking to my wife like this, in late afternoon, and telling her that I'm not going to live, I'm going to die, and I knew he'll kill me because he told me point blank. But I didn't know whether I'm going to die today or tomorrow or tonight. But my younger son was playing on the floor facing the wall. So always tell my audience, parents, school teachers, young students, that if there is a child, do not be scared what the child speaks, because the child always blabbers something. But be scared what the child sees and hears. So my son, younger guy, Rohan D'Souza, comes and taps me behind, and I look, and he tells me, Dadu, if you die, who will take care of my schooling? So that touched me. And such an innocent child, it's like God talking to me. So there are many things that changed. At one time, I lost my voice, courage, hope, and freedom. My trafficker, one fine day, tells me in 2003 that you got to take a bank loan, right? And I didn't want a bank loan. I said I just need my wages, but I was forced. So he takes me to a bank. I sign some documents. I get a check in my name, 5-figure check in my name, in the name of Harold D'Souza. All traffickers are multi-millionaires, right? So he takes me to his house, again a multi-million-dollar house, pours a scotch in a shot glass and tells Harold, cheers, let's celebrate, you're a rich man. By that time, I could gulp the scotch in my stomach. He removes a chit from his pocket and tells me, Harold, you owe me this money. At that time, I didn't know it was debt bondage, right?
Yeah.
And in 1 second, I lost my voice, my courage, my hope and freedom, because it was not $10,000, it was not $20,000, it was not $40,000, it was much more.
Yeah.
How am I going to pay such a big amount back, right? And before I could realize anything, he taps me on the back, and says, come on, let's go. You owe me much more. So it was a debt bondage. I would have been a slave for lifelong.
Yeah.
But I always share with my audience worldwide, in God's home, there is delay, no denial. The same chit saved my life. The FBI agent, they cross-checked and his handwriting matched. So there are a lot of things that change, because my trafficker always told me, he used to remove his glasses and he used to tell me, Harold, you cannot move 1 inch away from my eyesight. But what God did, God moved me to the White House. So there are a lot of miracles that has happened in my life. And I have to thank the Almighty God. And I have a flashback. I don't know how I did it. For 133 months, it took us to get our freedom. For 10 years, I was not talking. You can imagine.
Yeah.
I used to always break down. So it's a slow process. It's not that it just happens. But then once you have that resilience that you have to fight, you get the power automatic. So only 4 things to take from my journey. I tell my friends and audience worldwide, be happy, think positive, never quit, and believe in yourself.
Your transformation is truly inspiring for all of us, sir. Could you please tell us about how you collaborated with the US government and what honors they granted you?
It was not, I didn't know, like, it was a long process from my parish. Somebody said, go and do this course, because in the US, for labor trafficking victims, immigrants, traffickers use only one word, there's a nickname. So I was always called by my trafficker, he'll snap his finger and tell me, illegal, come here. So I was called illegal all the time, million times. So what happened in my mind, body and soul, I thought I'm a criminal. So there is no fixed rules, like when my trafficker tried to hire a guy to kill me, and there were some community members, the parish, somebody guided me, and whatever they told me I did. Eventually my case went to the FBI. I won the case from the US Department of Labor for back wages. My wife won the case from Wage and Hour Division, right? But then he hired a guy to kill me. So, and then I survived. Then the fear of death went from my mind, body and soul. So eventually when I went to the FBI, my case went to the FBI by some community members. And once the FBI took up my case, mine was the first case which the FBI took up as an H-1B visa. I went legally as a business development manager, right? I always tell that in India, like if you go to the US legally, it is heaven. If you go illegally, it is hell. But even me going legally became a hell for me. There's always a proverb in India that going to America is going to Swarg. Swarg means heaven or paradise, which is, America is a good country, all said and done. But then I was navigated by Almighty God. So eventually there are resources available. This is very important for the viewers who are watching, that if you or anyone you suspect is a victim of labor exploitation, sexual abuse or LGBTQ harassment in the United States of America, please dial 1-888-37-78888. So even if you don't have any documentations, no passport, but if you are a victim of labor trafficking, he or she is entitled by the law enforcement agency a CP, that's called continued present status. It's not a visa. And once you get that, you are entitled for a U visa, that is U for umbrella, or a T visa. And once you get that, you are entitled for permanent residency card, and then eventually US citizenship, which is freedom. And this is the path the FBI walked with me, and today I'm doing the talk.
And you have undoubtedly made a big impact on our audiences as well. As a public speaker, what are the key messages you would like to give our audience?
I always tell the audience worldwide, it's very simple. Keep your life simple. Simple living, high thinking. From my journey, from slavery to success, hurt to happiness, fear to freedom, darkness to light, I just tell 4 things. Be happy, think positive, never quit, and believe in yourself.
Your advocacy work is really vital, sir. Could you share a memory with us being a public speaker and a survival advocate?
As an advocate, I never thought I'll be a public speaker, because 10 years I was not talking. I didn't want my story to go out, but once I started advocating, started my non-profit, a lot of victims started contacting me. There were 2 victims who died in the US who were victims of labor trafficking, and that touched me. And it was God telling me that I need to be the voice for the voiceless victim. I want to give one classic example. There is a lady, she's from Nepal, right? She went through all this, like what I went through. Then we were helping her, and then she got her refugee status, and then she got the green card. The day she got a green card, she called me. She said, "Bhaiya, tum bhagwan ho. मेरे पास green card मिल गया." So on the phone, she was in another state. But just seeing on the phone the smile, the happiness, I felt so happy. The day she got her citizenship, she called me first thing. Again, she said the same words, but I could see the joy. So whenever I help victims, I tell them 2 things. I don't take a single penny from any victims. Number 2, I tell them I'm a postman. So they say, what do you mean by postman? I said, I know people, delegates in the US government, and I know them. So once I'm convinced, I guide them, and they get help, they get navigated. So there are many cases, like we helped a person from Mangalore. He was a barber, and became a victim of labor trafficking in Cameroon. And I didn't know that people go from Mangalore to Cameroon for barber. But to cut the long story short, it took us 4.5 months. and he's back now in Bangalore. He had a 2-year-old daughter. He was made to work in a quarry. This to feed him only once. He went through hell. But we flew him down from Cameroon to Bangalore fully free. He didn't have to pay a single penny. Got his passport. He didn't have the Indian passport because they had taken it away. So we created everything. And today, just 2 months back, I always talk to him. He started his own salon. So today he's happy. And that is what we do. So we have many cases of that type where we are helped. So when they call us, it makes us feel good. Because I am an advocate for United Nations, human rights. So Article 4 says no slavery. And Article 1 says we are all born free and equal. So people are not aware of this. So since the same person who was in Cameroon, I told him, nobody can touch you because they are scared. And we cannot. So like Article 4 and 5 says this, no slavery, no torture. And many people are not aware of this. So it's always good. So advocacy has changed my life. I learn, but it gives me more power, more encouragement. I feel good that people are getting freedom. Everyone has the right to live with freedom. So whenever I go to the White House, I carry this. That's my dad's photograph. I say a small prayer. I always tell that I represent the victims. So when I go to the White House or for any conference or for any meetings, and I want to be their voice.
We have heard about a documentary film coming up and coming up on a silver screen. So we would want to know about a little glimpse about it. Could you tell our audience about it?
Yeah, it is a long story, but I never anticipated that there will be a documentary on me on labor trafficking, and they're talking about different labor trafficking victims. So Benjamin Ryan Nathan, he's the producer and director of this film, and the teaser trailer is out, To Be Free. Okay. And Martin Sheen, he's the Hollywood superstar actor like Amitabh Bachchan in the US. He is the executive producer for this film, To Be Free. The teaser trailer is out, and I think the documentary should be out, I'm guessing maybe end of the next year. I have no control, they are working on it. I can't talk much about it, but Bollywood is doing a biopic, blockbuster silver screen movie on my life, a biopic of my journey from India to the White House. And a professional actor will do my role. And it will be on Netflix, I think, in all the things. I just signed the life right agreement. So that movie should be out, and that will depict everything, because I cannot share my journey because this is just the tip of the iceberg. But I think I don't know how they'll contribute or control in 3 hours or 2.5 hours the movie, but that will show the entire story. And I always I told the film producer also that there are problems like pandemic, there are problems like unemployment, there is problem like ill health, there are problems like human trafficking. Any problem, every problem has a solution. Suicide or silence is not a choice, option or solution. So anyone who walks out of the movie should get empowered, inspired that come on, problems will come, but we can overcome that. So my foundation, I am from Bangalore, is built on 7 principles. That's value, character, education, faith, love, compassion and humanity. Right, like the 7 rainbows. So no tsunami, no volcano or no storm can disrupt my views or my foundation.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your remarkable journey with us today. Our good wishes for your work and being a public speaker, inspiring so many people among us. You're truly an inspiration and a force of change for everybody. Thank you so much.